years ago we had a bad storm. Took down 3 of our big white pines and now it was long enough to make it from one side of the canyon to the other. And it will stay there till Mother Nature says it's not strong enough to come down and stone the cord. The next thing I want to point out is this huge tree coming out of the point of that rock right up here. They estimate that tree at 150 feet tall. A white pine grows roughly 1 foot a year, so that tree should be about 150 years old. And the people that study trees tell me the root system on that big tree probably only go back in that rock maybe 14 feet. There's 2 other white pines that went down during the storm. I'll show you later on the root system on them. A root system on a white pine, what? Come on. Grow more like fingers. Instead of straight down like an over maple will with a caplet. It totally amazes me they can stand up as long as they do for a little bit of root system they have. Next thing I'm going to talk about is the hemlock tree. Depending on where you've lived or vacationed, you may have heard of hemlock and you might not have. Hemlock tree coming up right here on the right. It's another cone-bearing tree like the white pine, but this one has a little special features to it. The branches grow down the trunk of that tree and stay alive and don't die and fall off like a white pine does. It has a lot smaller needles. And this tree, or these trees, came down here out of Canada during the Ice Age. This is about as far south as they made it. And this is a pine cone, if you want to pass that back. That's a fully developed pine cone off. This tree produces the smallest pine cone of any pine cone bearing tree out there. And that's fully developed. It doesn't get any bigger. Last year I had several left on the trees, but we've had so many storms this year. Most of them are blown down. Oh, the trail raiders are out. That's Canyon Creek Stable is taking people out right up there.
Got him.
They actually, they own that and own this.
Mom, don't drop the pine cone.
They have 65 head of those horses that do that.
You dropped it like
We have 28 of these big guys. 4 of them are too large to come through the canyon. They only give rides around the wilderness parking lot in a little wagon out there. The rest of them come down here, and we trade off so they never work too many days in a row. Come on, boys. As we go on up through here, you notice up on that hill, that is the golf course to the wilderness. If anybody here is a golfer and want a few extra balls, I do believe there's some in the creek. Come on, guys. As we come up here, Mother Nature helped me out on this tour. Give me a nice example of a white pine on the left and a hemlock on the right. She put them side by side just so you folks can see the difference in the 2 species. Come on, guys. Yep. I think this was pretty amazing. It just grew right around that rock. This part of the tour, these 2 horses do not like. As you can see, the trail does go on up there, straight ahead. About a mile up there is their stables. They would just soon go up there and get their grain and hay and finish their day's work. They get a little pouty sometimes and don't always want to turn like they're supposed to. It's still early today, so they're not doing too bad. Ron, don't make a fire. These horses weigh somewhere between 18 and 2,000 pounds. They can actually pull 10 times their weight, so pulling this wagon around is not hard work for them. Get up. Run, Red. Come on, let's go. Come on, get up. These guys get brand new shoes and their feet trimmed every 6 weeks between the sand and the rocks. They'll have them wore just about paper thin by the end of 6 weeks. An average cost to put shoes on these 2 is about $250 every 6 weeks. Get up. Come on. Come on, let's get up. How much is on? guys get a gallon of grain in the morning when we go to harness. They'll get a gallon of grain tonight when I put them away. And they'll average somewhere between 100 and 150 pounds of hay a day each. So yeah, they do consume a lot. It is pretty expensive having these big guys. I do have a team of black mares at home, black Furcon mares. I call them my girls. Every 6 weeks it costs me $250 to redo their feet, keep them in good shape for shoes. My fiance said, well, since you can spend $250 on your girls every 6 weeks, what about me? I said, well, honey, my girls came first and we're not married yet.
Oh.
Worked so far.
Yeah, it's gonna work when you're
Good luck.
married.
Thank you. I probably will need that. Folks, if we would have started the tour back at the stables instead of where I picked you guys up to begin with, and this was your first time down through the canyon, when we get down here and turn up to the left, if you folks would look off to the right, down through the narrows, it's hard to believe from this direction that we'd make it back through if you've never been through it before. There's the wilderness, that's how close to the edge of the canyon. They did put a chain link fence up, so their visitors don't come down to visit.
Yeah. See. That's a giant. One place you see a giant drawing. Yeah. This one.
Now easy. Easy. Now whoa, can you see it from there? Pretty narrow looking. Alright guys. This is the fence trees I was talking about that grew down during the storm. Give you an idea what the roots on one of those big trees look like. They said that tree was over 100 feet long when it crashed to the ground. So with those few roots, I don't know how it stayed up here for 100 years. Because the wind that we get here through the canyon. Alright folks, if you want to look at the rocks over here on the right, they're really wet. You're probably going to see a few of them drifting today. Due to all the water pipes up here, they are large. They do so much condensating. Even last year during our drought, they condensated enough and came through our stone. We actually kept running water down here the entire summer, even in the dry.
Wow.
You folks know how come we have caramel colored water here in Wisconsin in this area?
God, I do.
Well, part of it's it is from the foliage that we have, the pine needles. It reduces an acid in our water, which turns it a caramel color. Any acid, good, but it's not harmful for the wildlife or the horses. Matter of fact, I would bet most of us probably had some today already. If you had drank coffee, tea, Pepsi, Coke, for you girls a little wine, but not a lot. For us guys, whiskey and bourbon. All it is the coloring that will not hurt you. If you look up through the trees right there, you might pick out the conference center of the wilderness. It's right up on that ridge. As we turn the corner, there will be the skywalk from the wilderness that goes from one side of the canyon to the other. Boy. And if you hear somebody screaming or a lot of rattling noise, don't be alarmed, because right on the other side of the skywalk is their zip line. If you see one go flying past, you may see from their knees down, and that's about all the person you're going to see. They don't see a lot. These horses are union horses. According to their contract, they got to have a break every now and then. Well, these boys have never missed a break yet. Like a lot of union members that I used to work with, we never wasted our time on break to go to the restroom. These horses are pretty much the same. They won't take a bathroom break. Now do we go back to work? Get up, buddy. We're going to take a short stop. The canyon actually does go another quarter mile up in here. But due to keep everything natural, they ended this trail right here since 1956 with horse and wagon when I started. I'm going to pass out. I'm just going to give a wad, hand them back. If you got too many, bring them back. So. As you probably know, most of the tour guides here in the Dells work off commission and tips. Well, if you go on a lot of different rides, they're gonna they'll put an astronomical number on the set of photos or pens or whatever they're handing out that day. Because, well, when I went through and did the different tours here in the Dells, I didn't appreciate some college kid telling me that he was a poor college kid and need to make tuition this fall. So after listening to that, I decided I'm a little low for that. I can't use that excuse. So I get that up. So I had to think of a new one. So I do it different than most folks. I'll hand these cards out for you folks to look at. See if you like them. If you like them and would like to take them home with you at the end of the ride, you give me what you think they're worth to use, folks. I'm not going to put a price on them. And if you don't care for them at all, just leave them on the seat and I'll pick them up at the end of the ride. So, a little bit about myself. I've been around horses my entire life. My folks had them when I was born. I started riding horse on my own at 5. Get up. Get up. Get around. In 1980, I moved up here to the Dells. I bought a small dairy farm. My oldest brother convinced me it was time we started driving horses instead of riding. So I bought a bunch of little 50-inch mules, so I started farming with them. Took 6 of them little mules to pull one bottom plow. I really enjoyed it. I finally graduated to the big horses, started out with grass. Get up. Get up back. To supplement my farm income, I lost 7 winters in the woods to make the next one. Learn how these horses can pull and the amount they can actually pull by asking them. Get up. Yeah. So I have a lot of respect for these big horses. I got to commend the people that own this union. They take excellent care of their horses. I told you these guys are union horses. They have a wonderful retirement program. These horses' life expectancy is 30 years old. At the ripe old age of 20, they're going to get to retire. They're never going to have to pull a wagon again. They're not going to ever get a harness put on. And the most important thing about all this, you're not going to be sold, traded, or not going to end up in a nasty slaughter plant. You hear a lot of horses nowadays. People own the canyon figure they've done enough work for them in that time period. The least they do is give them a decent retirement right there in the Dells for the rest of their life. For what it costs to keep these animals, I think that's pretty astonishing. They do have 2 in retirement right now. This morning when we brought these guys in to clean them up for the harness on, they came right up. They got the same grain as these guys, just like they were going to go to work. They're treated just the same whether they're working or not. I told you guys these guys could pull about 10 times their weight. A lot of people look at me kind of strange. It's like, how do I determine what 10 times their weight is or what these actually can pull other than a little wagon? So I use this large tree right here that blew down. If we would take a chainsaw and cut the root base off of that, put the chain in that wagon, and with these 2 horses, and tell them to go, they could walk away with that log just as easy as they're pulling this wagon. It's astonishing what they can weigh. The weight they can, boys, let's go. The weight they can actually pull just by asking, not forcing them. Doing that, it's not like a lot of people, you've probably seen the horse pulls where they jump and jerk and they go like crazy. Just to have them walk off natural, they could do that. Like this time, we'll be back up to the narrow. See if we can get up through here without crashing these people up horse wagon. Blue wagons. These are brand new wagons within the last 2 years. When they had the blue ones, it was evident when they come through the canyon, if they would hit the wall, it leaves a blue paint on the canyon so everybody knew it was somebody bites out of it. Kind of nice with this one. You put a scratch on the wagon, but once you get one scratch, you don't know if it was that time or the time before. We're gonna see if we can get through here without doing it. Get that light shut off. Come on, boys. Yeah. Yeah. Well, when we get this part of the tour, folks, I presume you guys are all on vacation, having a great time up here in the Dells. Yeah. That's wonderful. I'm glad you stopped by to visit. But always ask my group, since you're all on vacation, taking it nice and easy, relaxing, have any of you started partying yet this morning? You know, like a Bloody Mary breakfast or anything just like that? None of you? Wow. You know, folks, if you'd had a couple free drinks here in you before you got here, could you imagine the rock formations you could have seen? Now you have to use your imagination. The first one coming up, I'm going to point out, is right up here, that lower rock that sticks out. They call that a duck's head. The next one, everything from now on going down will be on that side of the canyon. The next one coming up is going to be a long-necked dinosaur. Boy, go. Get up. Right here is a long-necked dinosaur. Right there he is. And when we get past him, you'll turn right back into our flying eagle that we've seen on the way up. Okay, folks, when we get down here, I'm going to point at some rocks. Whatever they look like to you is the right answer. There is no wrong answer. Several of these have been called a lot of different things. So whatever you think they look like, that's exactly what they are. So we're going to start with the stick that's straight up and down on the rocks right ahead of us. And if you can see that little stick that comes out to the left, makes a little Y. If you go at the bottom of that Y and look to the right about 2 feet, you're going to see a patch of brown rock about that big around, and it's a little green behind. That's our starting point. What do you see up in that part? Yeah, good help. Look. That's been called a bear, a dog, a pig, a lion, a leopard, a cheetah. One group of ladies thought it was an awful fancy table. Okay. Does it look like? Yes, it does. And then just to the right of that face, it is said to look like an elephant, and the flat rock would be his forehead if you look straight into one. One group told me it looked like a cobra that's all fanned out. The group last time told me it was a funnel upside down. And then let's come over here where the big crack is in the sand. Just to that side of it, it is said to look like a water bottle. And right above that, I think it looks like a monkey's face, but it's been called a shark. It's been called a whale. It's been called a porpoise. Whatever you think, folks, that's what it is. Take a couple steps, buddy.
I personally think it's the
Okay, now
rolling trees.
Alright, now let's look straight up here, kind of high. The rock that comes the furthest out to our left. There's a major crack that runs left and right up there. On the top half of that crack is said to look like an alligator or a crocodile's face.
Oh, I see it.
The bottom half is said to look like a camel or a gorilla. And I had one group said if you look just at the bottom jaw of that camel, they thought they could see a wolf or a coyote face.
The vibes of the
That one's still kind of iffy. I've been looking at that one. Sometimes I think I see it, sometimes I don't.
just the school.
Well, then I got ready to go like this. Get them, guys. Heading out for the next one, and one lady said, folks, hollered at me. I said, yes. She said, you missed the most obvious rock formation up there. I said, well, I've been doing it for 2 years. Nobody on my wagon has pointed out anything extra for me. What are we missing? She goes right up there. There's 2 buns and a little tiny piece of hamburger in the middle, just like at McDonald's. Come on. Well, folks, there's only one more to point out when we get down here a little ways. The next one coming up will be a green ice cream cone. People here in the canyon just snatching the green ice cream. We'll see if you folks can find our green ice cream cone. Okay. Right there's our green ice cream cone, that's what they call it.
Why would I ask if you were counselor?
I said I grew up in the state of Iowa and I think it looks more like a tornado. One group said, I do believe it's two beehives, one on top of the other. One lady said, no, that's a baby ice cream cone with 2 scoops of ice cream on top. And the one I like the most, it's an alligator standing on his nose. Do you see the face?
That's impressive.
I think that's the best one. Okay, boys, let's get out of here. Yeah. Oh, we did pretty good, folks. I think we made it through the narrows and back, and I do believe you all have your parts and pieces still with you. So that's a big plus in my department. We only have one more narrow spot to squeeze through. Let's see if we can get through that. I was telling you this sandstone holds a lot of water. It expands and contracts in the winter. We lost this big chunk of sandstone, came out of the ceiling. That was too wet and it expanded up and finally popped out. Yeah.
Because those aren't the same ones. They did have the same.
You know how to do that? You don't have a driver's license? You have insurance? You have insurance? No? Alright, well, don't crash us in the rocks. And don't make these nice people go for a swim. And if you keep it between the two, you'll be doing pretty good. You know where the brake pedal is? Very good, that girl. Folks, I want to thank you folks for coming along. Hope you enjoyed it, maybe learned a little bit. Folks, I've been messing with horses for over 60-some years. I've learned 3 things about horses. If they have a drive, they go forward. Most of them have a reverse, they back up. But 60 years of messing with these, I cannot find a park brake. So when it comes time to get off the wagon up here, folks, I'll hold them just as still as possible. Remember, they're still animals. They may wiggle the wagon to and fro. I brought you back in one piece. I'd hate you for you guys to fall off at the very end and get scratched up after I made it through all the narrows. I do appreciate you guys coming. Have a great day at Sedell.
Thank you.
Come on, buddy.